An estimated 19,000 people in Massachusetts are considered homeless. The numbers are inexact because many people experiencing homelessness sometimes stay under the radar. There's one group that's especially difficult to track: kids living without stable homes or parents. And not surprisingly, as Jenifer McKim from WGBH's New England Center for Investigative Reporting discovered, too often Massachusetts homeless youth are left to fend for themselves.
Lucas Spearing says it got so bad with his adoptive parents during high school that he took off. Some nights he slept on a bench or in a field. Then he moved in with a friend.
And did you feel welcome there?
But I didn't really feel welcomed anywhere, so no.
He slept in his friend's closet.
So this is approximately the size of the closet.
He paid $400 a month rent, survived on convenience store food, and kept a car to commute from the closet in Chelsea to classes at Somerville High. He struggled to make part-time jobs cover the bills, and, he says, with anxiety and depression.
Did you let anyone know at school what you were going through?
I told my school about my mental health issues, but I didn't tell them about my housing because I don't think they could really help.
Spearing is one of a growing number of young people in the state living on their own without a stable home. Last year, Massachusetts schools identified about 1,400 students as both homeless and without a parent or guardian. That's nearly double the number from a decade ago.
Most homeless youth are walking amongst us, and they just look like you and me, and so you wouldn't be able to just pick them out of a crowd.
Claudia Lent coordinates the medical and street outreach program for Bridge Over Troubled Waters that works with homeless and runaway youth. Each weekday night here on the Boston Common, the nonprofit's van attracts as many as 30 people. They range in age from 24 to just 14.
There's a lot of young kids in high school right now in 7th, 8th grade that didn't get something to eat, that slept in a car or slept on someone's couch. We see that all the time.
Elizabeth Jackson runs Bridge Over Troubled Waters and says even when the situation is desperate, kids rarely ask for help.
They're scared. They have to be safe to be able to ask for help. You have to be able to be vulnerable to ask for help. And those are not things that our young people, a 15-year-old should not say, excuse me, I need something to eat and I need somewhere to stay.
She says that reluctance is part of the reason schools are failing to get an accurate count of these vulnerable young people. Last year, Lynn Public Schools identified 531 students without stable homes or parents. But Boston Public Schools, about 3 times the size, reported just 41.
What happens with our young people is that they're not, you walk into a classroom and say, who's homeless? I am. That doesn't happen.
She says getting an accurate count requires building trust, and it's vital because without understanding the size of the problem, it's hard to help. Lucas Spearing is now 21. When he worried he might lose access to his rented closet, he finally did ask for help. And here at a home run by Bridge Over Troubled Waters...
So this is my room?
He has an entire room with space for his things.
How do you feel now having this room?
It's definitely better than the closet and definitely better than outside. So as long as it's a place where I can sleep and it's relatively quiet, so it's a blessing.
It's also temporary. Spearing spends most of his time away at college. He hopes to join the Marines and one day buy a home.
Jenifer McKim joins me now. Jen, that's really a powerful piece. Nice to see you. 1,400 people on the list statewide, 531 in Lynn. Obviously, there's a grotesque undercount statewide, yes?
Correct. They say this is just the tip of the iceberg about the actual numbers of young people who are living on their own, couch surfing, sleeping on the streets, all of those things.
So is Lynn the only place taking this seriously? I mean, these numbers are pathetic.
It's definitely both the fact that there's a lack of resources and attention, and it's also really, really hard to find the kids. It's a combination of both those things.
What's the law? I mean, is there an obligation, I assume, on cities and towns in the state to identify and educate these kids, yes?
So the numbers that they have come from the federal McKinney-Vento Homeless Assistance Act, and it's an act that basically requires school districts to identify and help homeless youth, both living with families and living without a parent and guardian. And clearly, many of them told us that they need to do a better job.
But even if we were honoring whatever that law is, that federal law, I'm assuming that doesn't create even close to a level playing field for these kids.
Well,
right?
that's the thing. They say part of the reason that the kids don't identify themselves is there's really no resources to help them. There's not enough beds. There's not enough help for kids. If you're homeless and a young person, you can't stay at an adult shelter. And so there's a lot more that needs to be done.
I'm really glad you did the piece, Jenifer McKim. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.